The Newton Board of Adjustments has public meeting to start at 7 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Jim, will you please call out attendance, please?
Mr. Kozak,
Here.
Mr. Sylvia,
Present.
Mr. Hamill,
Present.
Ms. White.
Present.
Ms. White will be appointed as a voting member this evening.
Thank you.
Okay. And open the public meeting for Mr. Ferrara. Jim, you want to read the comments, what we're looking for, the denial?
Daniel J. Ferrara of Newton, New Hampshire requests an equitable waiver from Ordinance Roman numeral 27.8b, wetland setback for his property at 39 Country Pond Road. The property is referenced as tax map 5, block 1, lot 1-2.
Jim, do you think this is a good time to bring up this, the withdrawal by the applicant? Does everybody have a copy of the,
I do. I have the signed copy.
okay,
Okay, so it has been signed.
Yes,
okay.
Okay.
So you have, everybody has a copy, okay.
I have a signed copy.
Fine. That's good.
Mr. Tomley is going to,
Yeah, so
Sorry.
actually, I'll make a motion to accept the withdrawal by Mr. Ferrara for the request for a equitable waiver from the sideline setback.
I'll second.
Jim, do a roll call, please.
Mr. Hamill,
Aye.
Mr. Sylvia,
Aye.
Ms. White,
Aye.
Mr. Kozak.
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Okay. Continuing on, who's making the presentation, Mr. Tomley? Okay.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Bill Toohey. I am the brother-in-law and a budding neighbor of Daniel Ferrara and Ellen. I reside at 41 Country Pond Road, which is the parcel next door, and I was asked to speak on their behalf tonight for this continuance hearing. First, they would like to thank all the members of the board, including Jim, for your patience, your guidance, and understanding as they navigated through this process, and for the opportunity for this continuance hearing. As previously discussed, it has been quite a challenge and learning experience getting to this juncture due to various misinformation and misguidance by third parties, in which they acted in good faith that with the information that was provided was accurate. That being said, they had originally applied for 2 separate equitable waivers, which you now know he has withdrawn one of them. So that can cut that paragraph short on my presentation. Additionally, you'll find that on the updated final plans with all the items that were requested at the last meeting, including but not limited to the abandoned well to be filled in, the perimeter foundation drain detail, the wetland flags, the scale, and the stamps and wet signatures by both the engineer and the site soil scientist. Also, please note that the silt fence has been 100% installed per the request of the Conservation Committee, and photos were emailed to Trish about 3 weeks ago because we did it immediately as a sign of good faith and to prove that we did the installation in a timely fashion. Regarding the actual installed foundation location, again, they were acting in good faith based on the data and measurements provided. The foundation location was meeting all the setback requirements and shifting the foundation parallel to the left from its original location. We were under the impression we're still within the buildable area provided and meeting all the setback requirements. Additionally, when we preliminarily mapped out the location of the proposed foundation last fall before we took the trees down, excuse me, and again in the spring, the entire wetland that was in question was completely dry. It was brittle almost, it was so dry, and that we were checking those distances wearing sneakers and flip-flops. Then we received that unprecedented rain this year that we haven't seen in years, and that changed the water table and all the standing water areas significantly. Furthermore, as you can see between both plans, the rear foundation wall was not moved any further back towards the wetlands. It was only shifted to the side. You will notice, however, that the far right-hand corner is a little further back than the initial plans because we repositioned the foundation to maintain being parallel with the street as the original plan was with Country Pond Road. What you can't see on the plan is the road actually does have a slight curve right in that area where it was supposed to be and where it is now, which is why we adjusted it to keep us parallel. Based on this information, the facts presented, the documents that you have, and by no means was there ever any intention of not meeting any and all setbacks requirements, they respectfully request an approval for the equitable waiver to the setback requirements from the existing installed foundation. They would like to thank you in advance for your consideration.
Do you have that written down?
Excuse me?
Is that in writing?
Yes.
Can I have a copy?
You can have the whole thing.
I'll ask the board if anybody has any questions.
Yeah, I mean, one of my concerns all along has been how close the building is to the wetlands. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted this, which is the first time I've seen it tonight, is your original filing with the building department. Because though it doesn't have a scale on it that I could find, I kind of, measuring something that said it was 150 feet and
Sure. Did the math backwards.
Doing the math backwards.
Sure.
It appears as though, as originally drawn, with the edge of wetland that was originally delineated by the engineer, you were in the far corner, just about 50 feet away. So it would have been
Okay.
all right. So, there wasn't an error. The location of the wetlands isn't quite correct, but that's a sort of the kind of an error that equitable waivers are made to deal with.
Right.
So, but and I understand, you move the building to the east.
Yeah.
To the left, from the view from the street,
View from
to the left,
street,
closer to my house.
closer to your house.
Plan east.
Plan east.
And what that did is it moved you a lot closer to the edge of wetland, because though you're not any farther from the street, the wetland gets closer to the street.
Correct.
It kind of scoops up, which was where I was originally had a lot of concerns about.
Understood.
I am feeling a bit better having seen this and seen the development of the era. And I now have a better appreciation of that.
Yeah, and again, we tried to provide you all the information that we had so that you could see what we were dealing with.
And obviously you moved it a little bit too far, but you've already corrected that problem by the lot line
Yes, sir.
adjustment. So we don't have to worry about that.
He wants to steal my cable, that's why.
And Jim, you had said that that lot line adjustment has already been recorded.
Yes.
So that, okay. Yeah,
And that was actually in my write-up that I skipped that paragraph, was they took it on themselves as an act of good faith to not put the burden on you, on this board, because they had the capacity to fix the problem, and they spent the money to do so.
yeah.
As again, as another sign of good faith.
Because, I mean, when I first looked at
See this
this,
from Jim?
I had
Yes.
great reservations that it would meet the definition of
I did read
what
it earlier,
an
but
equitable waiver could do.
Right.
You know,
But I'm getting to feel more comfortable with it.
So I'm glad to hear that.
Okay. I think I'm all set, Mr. Chairman.
okay, yeah. Ms. White?
I have no questions.
Okay.
I'm fine with that too.
I'm sorry, what did she say?
she's fine with that too.
She's fine with that too, okay. All right. Okay.
And this plan shows the abandoned lot lines versus the new lot lines,
Yes.
which is extremely helpful, I think.
Yeah. And it shows where the distance is from the, so to the new lot line where it's,
They've actually picked up a little bit more than the 7 feet they needed. They actually picked up, it's like 8.5 feet
right.
Yeah.
on my calculations.
I don't have any questions.
Okay, I guess.
That was the only thing that I had and what Roger brought up. Go ahead. That was the only issue that I was looking at, the same as you were, Roger.
So, I haven't been out there, but you said you've put in a silt fence to protect
Correct.
the wetland from the,
From the edge of the pavement, roughly 40 feet into my yard, covering all the wetlands, all the way into my yard.
and,
485 feet of silt fence, to be exact.
wow. So it goes all the way from your yard all the way to,
We weren't taking any chances.
I guess the only question would be, once construction is done, do we need any other protection of the wetland?
Yes.
Because rather than having the 50 feet that you're supposed to have for the runoff and stuff to get through before it hits the wetland. And I really do wish that Trish was here because she knows a
I
lot
know,
more. She
yeah.
knows a lot more about that stuff than I do.
Do you guys have anything planned for the backyard as far as anything that is concerned?
My builder was talking about possibly a retaining wall. Kind of like what they did over on the beach, on his beach down by the lake. They had put, what is it, rocks, heavy rocks.
Bang rocks into the side of the hill to stop the erosion.
Yeah, I spoke to Ms. McCarthy today. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it tonight, but she wanted to make sure that you knew that whatever you're going to do down there, you might have to add something, but contact her, the conservation, and they'd work with you to get what they think is appropriate for that area.
Sure, and
I think you've
Ms.
already
McCarthy
talked
had
to her.
mentioned that as well.
Yeah, okay.
After this, Trish is coming over for Christmas, don't worry about it.
Because I guess my concern is, is doing something worse than doing nothing.
Yeah.
It's sort of,
But I think one
are you
of the-
better off to, once the construction is done, just
Yeah.
get rid of the silt fence and
Yeah,
leave
yeah.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and we can,
one of the areas that Trish talked to me on the phone today, in fact, Jim brought it up in his little comments, did any water that may come from the house area, so forth, if there's anything that, it goes into some kind of a dry well away from, not headed down towards the wetlands.
right.
Uh-huh.
And that's typical of the houses.
Yes, yeah,
that
with that
country
area
club.
right now, yeah.
Because right now, okay, where would the runoff from the roof go?
I don't think they've gotten that far because
I would say probably where the runoff has been going for the last 4 months, to the left of the house, down towards my property, and then down to the little path to the back lake. I've been watching it for 3.5 months now, all the runoff.
Now, don't,
On the plan,
yeah,
at the east rear corner of the house, it says drain.
right, it does say drain.
Foundation drain, yeah.
That's the perimeter drain that Ms. McCarthy wanted us to add to the final plan, that there's a foundation perimeter drain, and it exits out the back left-hand corner of the foundation into the wetlands, which she said was
Then that's what
Okay.
that's what she wanted it to do.
correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I said, she
She
knows-
said jump, we said how high.
and yeah, I mean, she knows a lot more about that stuff than I do. That's why.
Incredible
Yeah.
knowledge is.
And I think you guys really did a great job retaining the recommendations from the last meeting and executing, so I definitely wanted to just say that. I mean, I think they did. I don't see anything that wasn't captured that we talked about.
Yeah, I agree.
Try to be as thorough as possible.
No, and you know, that's not typical, so, you know, I'll speak for myself, but I'm sure the board as well, that, you know, much appreciated. Mr. Doggett.
You received my recommended suggestions for facts and conditions.
Yes.
Yes.
After re-listening to everything that happened at the last meeting, the plan does fall within the purview of the planning board of the zoning board of adjustment, and justice would be served by approving the application. I recommended 2 potential conditions. One is that some sort of a stone wall, low fence, some sort of delineation be put along the edge of the wetlands just to prevent that from eventually being filled in.
Excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt you. When I was talking to Trish tonight,
Yeah.
whatever happens in that area, whatever they decide to do, if we put some kind of a conditions on it, that they should talk to her to make sure that,
Right.
And
you
that's,
know,
But
and I'm sure you'll follow up with her with whatever, you know?
yeah.
However, it should be part of your notice of decision.
Yeah.
Jim, can I ask, are we able to put the condition is that they get, because we can make all the recommendations we want, whether it's a retaining wall or a drain or a French drain, you know, whatever it is. Can the condition just simply be to see conservation and best practices that they recommend and adhere to their
If you want to
That's
word it that
basically
way,
what she
yes.
told me today on the
Yeah,
phone.
I mean, I'd just like to, Trish to tell them, have them execute, and have that be the best thing, rather than
yeah, I
us
agree.
taking it into our own hands, which we're, quite frankly, I don't think anybody would disagree that we're not qualified to make a judgment on how to protect wetlands. Aside from
If
our,
Ms. McCarthy had been here this evening,
Yeah.
yeah, agreed.
But that's what she told me tonight.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, yeah,
I'll have wording, recommended wording.
all right, okay.
Appreciate that, Jim.
Is there any other board members have a question, Roger?
No, I think we may be ready to close the public hearing.
Well, I just want to see, is there anybody from the public that would
yeah.
like to make a comment? There's nobody for or against it out there? Well, you never know, maybe you didn't give them their allowance this week. Okay, all right. Okay.
Want to ask Ms. White? Jack?
I'm going to close the public hearing at 7:20 PM. The board will now enter deliberation. And I'll ask Mr. Doggett to read off the areas that we'll be talking about. And what I do with it, my copy.
Criteria 1. The request involves a dimensional requirement, not a use restriction.
But I didn't hear what you said.
Excuse me?
I didn't hear what you said.
Okay. Criteria 1. The request involves a dimensional requirement, not a use restriction.
Yes.
Mr. Hamel?
Yes, it does.
Mr. Sylvia?
Yes.
Ms. White,
Yes.
Mr. Kozak.
Yes.
Criteria 1 is met. Criteria 2, Section 1, the violation has existed for 10 years with no enforcement action, including written notice being commenced by the town. I believe this is non-applicable.
Correct.
Mr. Hamel says it's non-applicable.
Yes.
Mr. Sylvia?
I agree.
Ms. White?
I agree.
Mr. Kozak?
Agree.
Or, the nonconformity was discovered after the structure was substantially completed or after a vacant lot in violation has been transferred to a bona fide purchaser.
Yes, the nonconformity was discovered after the structure is defined as the foundation was
Yes.
substantially complete.
Yes. Is that a yes, Mr.
Yes.
Hamel? Mr. Sylvia?
I would say based on the inspection reports provided by the building inspector in the town, that would be a yes.
Ms. White?
I agree. Yes.
Mr. Kozak?
Yes.
Criteria next. The violation was not an outcome of ignorance of the law or bad faith, but resulted from a good faith error in measurement or calculation. Mr. Hamel?
Yes, I believe that the explanation that the applicant gave about the initial information provided by the surveyor engineer was not accurate regarding the actual location of the wetlands, which were used for the layout of the foundation.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Mr. Sylvia?
I would say yes.
Ms. White?
I agree with Mr. Hamel's statement. Yes.
Mr. Kozak?
Yes.
Criteria was met. Criteria 3, the nonconformity does not constitute a nuisance or a diminished, nor diminish the value or interfere with future uses of other property in the area. Mr. Hamel?
Yes, because he is now taking appropriate actions to protect the wetlands, I agree.
Mr. Sylvia?
Agree.
Ms. White?
I agree.
Mr. Kozak?
Agree.
Criteria 4, the cost of correction far outweighs any public benefit to be gained. Mr. Hamel?
Yes, I agree with that. Yes.
Mr. Sylvia?
I agree.
Ms. White?
I agree.
Mr. Kozak?
Agree.
Criteria 4 has been met.
Would someone like to move?
The next thing I think we need to vote on are our findings of fact. I would like to use both of the ones that Jim proposed. In addition to that, the other finding in fact is that the application meets all of the criteria for an equitable waiver.
Is that a motion, Mr. Hamel?
Yes. That was a motion for the findings of fact.
Was that a move to approve?
No,
No,
not yet.
Not yet, okay.
No, we need a second on the motion.
I'll second the motion. And I'd like to add that, I'd like to add nothing.
And that would, Mr. Hamel, would your motion contain the condition precedent of meeting with conservation about appropriate delineation of the wetlands?
My motion was just a finding of fact,
Okay.
Yeah,
nothing else yet.
just to encapsulate the facts, just to,
In that case,
Record.
Mr. Hamel,
Aye.
Mr. Sylvia,
aye.
Ms. White,
Aye.
Mr. Kozak.
Aye.
That's unanimous.
And now I'll make a motion to grant the equitable waiver with the condition precedent of, please read it, Jim.
That is to meet with conservation about appropriate delineation of wetlands following New Hampshire best practices.
Yes.
I'll second.
You polled
Mr. Hamel,
Aye.
Mr. Sylvia,
Aye.
Ms. White,
Aye.
Mr. Kozak.
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Application is granted.
Thank you very, very much. Greatly appreciated, and thank you for your patience.
And thank you for
Thank you for being so
paying attention
cooperative.
and being diligent.
The guidance is a
Yeah.
lot of help, and I hope we don't see each other again.
Again, you always, you know, we had several meetings, you always walked out of here with a smile on your face.
Yeah.
We tried to do the best we could, and I think it worked out great for everyone.
It was, half of it was our fault, being unprepared, but again, thank you so much for your patience.
Absolutely. And thank you,
Thank
guys.
you for all your help.
By the way, everybody got the notice that there's no escrow account for tonight?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or I did.
Yeah.
Have a good evening, guys.
Has everybody read the minutes of last month? And anybody have a change?
There have been a few corrections.
Jim,
Since you issued the paper copy?
The minutes that I saw online after I spoke to you
Yeah.
still had the wrong date for the minutes. It was still
Okay,
the second, but
I'll
not the
double
fifth.
check that.
This one has the second that I have in front
Yeah,
of
but
me.
you know, that one has several mistakes that have been fixed.
Okay, I will double check as far as I know, but that's also a Scrivener's error, so.
Yeah, so make a motion to accept the minutes of August 2nd as most recently corrected.
Second.
Second.
Poll the board, Jim.
Mr. Hamel,
All right,
Mr. Sylvia,
Aye.
Ms. White,
Aye.
Mr. Kozak.
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Does everybody get a copy of the manifest?
you said there wasn't one.
There's no
There
escrow.
was no manifest? Okay, I just read it.
There is no manifest.
Okay, all right, okay, yeah,
I put that on in case,
okay. Well, we'll adjourn at 7:30 and find pizza.
Before we adjourn,
Wait a second.
before we adjourn,
Okay,
I got a couple of things.
yeah.
Actually, one is the Land Use Law Conference in October. The Land Use Law Conference is on, well, October 22nd is the ZBA version. This year, for the first time since COVID, they're having in-person, for that matter, it's going to be only in-person. In Concord, attendance cost $90. I don't know what, I didn't recheck our budget for training this year.
I can't remember what we had in there for training.
I believe we have $250.
I mean, I think it would be very good,
If one or two members were attending,
especially some of the new people.
yeah, yeah.
It's on a Saturday.
I'm not opposed to it. I thoroughly enjoy
Well,
it.
I think if nothing else, if whoever goes, we need somebody there to represent us, to come back and give us a.
Because
kind of a
this
sample.
year it's really strange for Jim, because they're doing, one Saturday they're doing the planning board, and the next Saturday, they're doing the zoning board.
I know.
Yeah.
For some reason, I missed the thing about it being only in person.
That's what it says. It says only in person,
Okay.
and it's $90.
If people want to go, I will find it in the budget. Luckily, we haven't used any, I don't believe we've used any legal funds yet. So our big thing is not overspending the bottom line.
October 22nd, you said?
Yeah, 21st.
21st.
Saturday.
Right. Yeah, because
Yeah, because the planning board one is on October 14th.
Correct, the week before that.
unfortunately I cannot attend the 21st.
But I think, you know, maybe, Jack, you should especially contact some of the other members of the board and of any new people.
Yes.
The other thing is that there's a ZBA Basics webinar that's going to be given by NHMA on September 28th at noontime. That's free.
That's online. Yeah.
That's online, it's free.
Yeah.
Again, I think, Jim, make sure that all of the members of the board get aware of that, and if they have...
I assume these are all emails that came out in the past few days.
Actually, the one about that had the whole list came out today.
Oh, okay. I haven't done email yet.
Yeah. But I just want to make sure that, you know, that everybody has an opportunity for any training that...
I will make sure that goes to everybody.
Okay.
There's an awful lot of changes coming down from the state in the next...
Well, and that's the other thing. There's been a lot of changes about what it doesn't really affect us. About what do you call them? Security bonds. There was a big change in the law that passed this year, which affects the planning board, not really us.
Yeah.
Right.
But there was a great article in the Union Leader, and I saved a copy. I was going to bring it tonight, but I don't know if anybody read it about, you know, we have what, you need an acre and third to build a house. Well, the state's saying you should be able to put 3 apartment buildings in that particular lot. You know, it's a big concern of ours, at least mine. You know, you're going to change the whole character of this town.
Well, I think, you know, there's a couple of things that need to be done. One is the Rockingham Planning Commission is spearheading or facilitating, I guess would be the right word, a survey about housing in Newton.
Yes, I gave
Is that
out. I gave out about 200 of them. Whatever Jim gave me a stack like that, I gave those all out in
I'll
one.
give you more.
Yeah, I really need some more because other people have been asking. It's still open. Yeah.
Is that different than the one that was emailed?
When this one opened the last week of August,
Yeah.
Yep.
because there was one
Okay.
shortly before that about age-friendly.
No, I got something from a town email, or to my
Do
recollection.
we all
it
get
was-
one? I can't
It was a
remember.
town email about land use and development of our town specifically.
Yeah, but that's what the questions on this was, that little survey, because I did it. You know,
Be
what is-
interested to see that.
moving forward, what is the town
The
gonna
planning
do?
board and actually it's supposed to be chaired by the Board of Selectmen, but it fell to the planning board, did the age-friendly, that was a grant. And that was about how good Newton is to grow old in, whether or not there are enough services, what have you.
I didn't see
The other one is the land use survey,
That's the one I saw.
which we're trying to encourage everybody to take. That's being paid for by a different grant.
Yeah.
Both of them were done with basically Rockingham Planning Commission doing most of the footwork and legwork.
Yeah, I saw that one. I took it. It was interesting to take. It was interesting that they showed the percentages at the end. And I wish I had waited a week or so to to take it so I could get, it came in and
Yeah.
I might have been 2-3 hours after I received it, I took it, so the percentages,
Oh, the percentages are going to change all the time. and-
right.
Those are just the percentages of the responses.
For the question, they had it broken down, correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, they had it broken down by the question of the percentage and on how people voted after, which they,
You're not supposed to be seeing any of that information.
well, after
were-
I answered
they
the
were-
question,
I will double check because that's something that board members have already been asking our circuit rider about. And she's like, no, you get that information at the end so that you can't skew the
no,
survey.
after I answered the question, the percentage popped up. That's what I saw.
Yes.
So
Right, you-
I answered the question and it showed how other people felt after I
Okay.
answered the question, not prior to.
That's a lot better to hear. I quite
So the
honestly,
second time you took it, you knew what it was.
No, it was, like I said, it was, for me, I wish I had waited a week because I got it and I maybe took it, I received it and I might have taken it within 30 minutes of receiving the email. So I wish I had.
so you may have been one of the first people to answer.
Correct. I think based on what I saw at the end of everything, it was well under 50 people that had taken it.
I believe it's, don't quote me on this, but I believe they've had 178.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Already?
Yeah. Isn't
Yeah.
there a cutoff date to that one?
Yeah, she said the
Well,
15th.
the Rockingham Planning Commission is suggesting that because Newton Old Home Day is coming up, that it be
Carried.
that it be extended a week.
Yeah, because there was a beginning date and an ending date.
Right.
Okay. I'm trying to remember what it was, but so it's going off, it's towards the end of August then, September.
Right.
Okay. Because people have asked and yeah. All right,
Very good.
okay.
So I have 7:39.
The Newton Board of Adjustments is adjourned. Thank you, Roger, for extending our meeting.
Would you
He's not
declare
even
us
close to
adjourned?
my record.
Pardon me?
Declare us